Today I want to talk about the best Harley Davidsons that you can buy as a new Harley owner. So not necessarily a new rider, but somebody new to Harley Davidson. If you're coming from another manufacturer and you want to go to Harley Davidson and buy your first Harley, this video is for you. Today I'm going to give you the 5 best Harley Davidsons that you can buy. And of course, this is just my opinion, but what you're not going to see here is a bunch of AI generated images of bikes I've never seen, touched, smelled, handled, whatever. These are bikes that I actually have experience with. Either I've owned them or I've ridden and reviewed them in the past. So if you like this type of content, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit your notifications so you never miss one from me. The first one we're going to start with, you're actually getting 6 bikes here for the price of 5. So buy 5, get 1 free. I don't know. You don't have to buy anything, actually. You can watch this whole video for free. But I want to mention the Iron 1200. That's the bike you're seeing right here. The last great Sportster. I think it offers everything, right? If you are looking, and hear me out, if you're a new rider and you want to get in a Harley Davidson, I think the 1200 might be your best option, the Iron 1200. Trust me, I tried the Iron 883. That was my very first Harley. And it did not take long for me to realize I just didn't like that bike. Now, if you're somebody that customizes and you want to do, you know, a motor swap and you want to do all of this kind of stuff, then the 883 can be a freaking monster. But if you don't want to do that stuff, the Iron 1200 is the last great Sportster. They're lightweight, mid-mounted controls, but the handlebars, much more comfortable. That's one thing you'll notice, man. I like comfort, but this is also a bike that you can whip around and have a good time on. Number 5 will be the Fat Bob. To me, this is not necessarily the best entry level motorcycle. You know, it's got the M8 114, so it's much more powerful than the Iron 1200. I wouldn't say that it's something like, oh my God, if you're a new rider, you can never ride it. You just got to understand that is a torquey machine. But when it comes to the stripped down Softail models, those without, you know, a fairing and, you know, all that kind of stuff, the Fat Bob to me is one of the coolest motorcycles out there. It handles well. It's got kind of the drag bars, but yet it's still comfortable. It's got a mean look to it, big tire out in the rear. But again, not so big that you can't handle it, right? It doesn't have a big 240 millimeter rear tire. I believe it's 180 millimeter. I actually recently reviewed this motorcycle if you want to take a look at it. But it is a excellent machine if you want something for bike nights, if you want something to you know, rip around the canyons or going through the mountains or, you know, curvy hills of Tennessee or upstate South Carolina, North Carolina, those kinds of places. The Fat Bob is a fantastic entry if you want a bike like that. The next one we're going to talk about is the Street Glide Special. And by the way, you got to forgive my beard here. This was very early on in reviewing motorcycles, and I've finally grown into my beard. So just forgive that part of the video. But regardless, if you are looking for a fork-mounted motorcycle, the Street Glide Special is the pinnacle of that design. A batwing fairing, the lines, the interior, the dash, everything has been perfected over so many years, man. So while I really do like the Indian Chieftain, it gives a much different aesthetic inside and out to the Street Glide. If you want the real deal, the real batwing fairing, if you will, the Street Glide is the way to go. The Street Glide specifically, though, I really enjoy because you get the stretch saddlebags. You, of course, have the crash bars. You have the big floorboards, forward controls, all of that kind of stuff. You also get the Boom GTS system in the new ones. Now, I like it better than the ST models that have come out since with the 117, although the 117 is awesome. And I do like the copper wheels and all that kind of stuff. They offer more of a performance type of cruiser, whereas the Special is more of that slammed bagger look. So depending on what you're going for, you know, that will obviously dictate, or which one you like the looks of more will dictate the one you want to go with. Personally, I like the Special and the Street Glide Special. When it comes to a Batwing style bike, it is the Batwing style bike that you want. This is a fantastic bike and probably the best looking bike I've ever owned up to this point. The next one we're going to talk about is the Heritage. Here's my old man coming out, but this is one of the most comfortable bikes I have ever sat in, and I really thought I was going to absolutely hate this. Now, the Heritage that comes with the 114 is the way to go for me personally because it's all blacked out. This Heritage that I rode had the 107, bunch of chrome everywhere. Regardless, man, if you're looking for a super, uber comfortable motorcycle, this is the way to go. Front crash bars, you have the leather wrapped bags. They still offer, decent security, not the best security, but they still offer decent security. They have good lighting up front, right, with the LEDs. You have a windshield that you can take on or off. And again, you get a lot of the features that a bagger will offer you without the radio, without the fairing, without all of that weight. So if you're doing some lighter cruising, or hell, maybe even cross country, you may really like this thing for cross country. Or you're ripping around in the curves, or you're going to bike nights, or you're going to, some events, 2-3 hour rides, or whatever the case may be. This is a fantastic motorcycle. Again, you're going to be able to carry quite a bit of things in those saddlebags. So it's not going to be like a super stripped down model where you really can't carry anything like some of the other Softails. So it's going to offer you a lot in a package that has a lot less weight. And again, super comfortable. I love sitting in the saddle on this bike, dude. Just for cruising around, this thing is pretty awesome. All right, remember now, this is just my opinion, but if you're looking at a Harley Davidson and you want one that can almost do it all, like literally almost do it all, the Pan America is a fantastic motorcycle. Now, I have a friend of mine who hates the look of this bike. He wouldn't even ride this bike when we had a chance at Myrtle Beach Bike Week. But I'm telling you, man, with the features, the motor that they put in this thing, the bags that you can put on it, whether it's off-road or on-road, the Pan America is a very cool and very comfortable motorcycle. You have the LED lighting, you have the crash bars all the way around it. So, regardless of what you're doing, this bike can be like a, an off-road machine. You can adjust the brake and the clutch levers if you want to. You got the TFT display with a ton of different information on this thing. You also have the active suspension. So if you're on a trail or you're coming to a stop or you're hitting the throttle, it will react to different environments around you. Also adaptive ride heights. If you're more vertically challenged, kind of like myself, then it will actually lower for you whenever you come to a stop, which is a pretty cool feature. So as opposed to some of your adventure touring bikes where they're super tall and they might be intimidating to you if you're vertically challenged, this one can accommodate you to a certain degree. And I'll be honest with you, when it comes to some of the new motorcycles that Harley has come out with, their Nightster and their Sportster S, although I like the Revolution Max motor, I think it's a great step in the right direction. This one, for me, right now, does it, right? I think this is probably the best one they've come out with that motor, with that technology so far. And so if you like technology, you like the latest and greatest, but it has a Harley badge on it, this is one I would highly consider. It's also for somebody that's, if you want something with the Harley name, right? But you don't want a traditional air-cooled big cruiser, but something you could obviously take longer trips on. To me, this bike just offers so much, man. And yes, to me, it would be a great second bike. But even as an only bike, I think this one does a really great job. And I love the aesthetics. I love pretty much everything about this motorcycle. Now, even though I haven't owned it, I've ridden one. And again, from what I saw, this thing is pretty awesome. And the last one that we're going to talk about is the Road Glide Special. Now, this is actually a comparison I did, pretty popular comparison between the Street Glide and the Road Glide Special. But the Road Glide Special is the pinnacle of Harley touring machines. It's really probably the pinnacle of Harley Davidson as it stands right now. Now, of course, they have a new redesigned Road Glide and a new redesigned Street Glide. I have yet to see how those things actually are. I'm excited to hopefully get my hands on them at some point. But regardless, right now, the Road Glide Special is where it's at. Now, the caveat to that, if you are doing long distance touring and you know that you want that extra space and you want liquid cooled heads, I would go with the Limited. But if you want the slam look and all of the things that, you know, the Street Glide will give you, like we talked about, but a much more maneuverable motorcycle, a motorcycle that cuts better through the wind, frame-mounted fairing on the Road Glide is where it's at. Of course, you're going to get the chopped windshield. You're going to get the stretched bags. You're going to get the lower suspension. So it is, just like what we talked about with the Street Glide, my preferred aesthetic. And so what I did is Advan Black sent me one of their tour packs that's color matched. And so now I kind of have an Ultra, but I don't have the extra weight that comes with the lower fairings and, you know, everything else that it comes with. It's about a, right off the top of my head, still probably a 50-pound difference or so between the Road Glide Special and my buddy's Road Glide Limited. 6-gallon tank, of course. If you're going to carry a passenger, this thing is ideal. And again, I just like the whole setup of the Road Glide. To me, it cuts better through the wind. Aesthetically, it looks freaking awesome, although I think the Street Glide still beats it in aesthetics. I much prefer riding, maneuvering, and just overall, the Road Glide Special, to me, is the best Harley Davidson that you can buy. I'd love to hear your opinion, man. What do you think the best Harley Davidson is out there for somebody to buy? Not necessarily a new rider, but it could be a new rider as well. Let me know what you think down below. Let me know what you think about the new Harleys. Are they going in the right direction with the Sportster S, the Pan America, the Nightster series, all of that kind of stuff? Or you can even chime in and tell me what you think about the Road Glide and the Street Glide CVOs, the new ones. I actually have a dedicated video on that as well. So if you want to check that out. Big thanks to you guys. See you in the next one. And as always, hold them down.